Well, here we are again on the Ashtoons veranda balcony out here in East Tennessee on a beautiful Thursday afternoon, September the 17th, 2020. And the rain's finally stopped. I'm not trusting it enough to get out in the yard or anything. I'm going to do today's build project from right here on the balcony. And this one is long overdue. I would say years overdue. And that is my 10x10 booth that I set up at fairs and festivals. And I say I set up because I still plan on getting right back out there and doing that as soon as things even get close to back to normal. But the display setups, the examples that hang on the sides, the backsplash, the sandwich board, the banner, all the things that catches people's eye and lets them know immediately that this is a caricaturist and this is how good he is. That stuff. Now the examples have changed out, but the actual hardware that I hang them on has been the same since the beginning, since years before I even started the YouTube channel, which I believe is getting close to 3 years old now. Wow. This is how things are looking now. Gummy duct tape where I have stuck these things together and rigged them up for years on end. The sandwich board itself is falling apart. Layers of it's already come off. Stuff has served me well for a long time, but it's really starting to look shabby and it is time to change it out with something a little more durable. Now I'm expecting this rebuild to take me a few days. This time I'm not going to be cutting any corners. It's probably going to be a little more expensive, but I want it to be to where it looks good. I don't have to worry about it breaking, falling apart, and I can just forget about it and concentrate on the drawings. So this is the part I'm going to start on first. The collar display that hangs, I think, most of the time on the right side of the booth. The framework is 11 by 17 frames that I got from Walmart, and the glass eventually fell out and broke, and I was using examples different size by that point anyway. The backing, I just use regular craft foam, drilled holes in the framework right there, put one zip tie through it, and then took this polyurethane rope and tied it in knots and got it. Took a little tying and retying, but I got it even. I was so broke and desperate at the time. I feel like I did pretty good as far as the ingenuity of it at the time, and it has worked for a long time, but these are just regular indoor cheap plastic frames, and they just weren't meant for the durability of being hung up, taken back down, being out in the wind, blowing around in the sun, hitting them, getting rained on over and over for years on end. They just start breaking down. You've got cracks here. There's one right there. This end right here. This side right here is broken so many times and been retaped back together right there. And you can just see where, you know, this system of taping them on with duct tape, as much as everybody just loves duct tape, it's not suitable for doing this. I gotta find a different way. But one thing I did like about this little design that I had was how convenient and easy it was to just kind of fold up and just like that. And you can just throw that into a Tupperware tote or in the back of the truck or something. And yeah, just so easy to manage and to break down. So I want to keep that much. I want to keep the space in between and the way it's able to just fold up. But I can't use plastic again. I can't, because this is just going to happen. And I can't use wood because I get caught in the rain a lot, even good wood. If we have it thin like a frame and it gets wet and dried, it's eventually going to start warping. So I can't use wood, so I'm going to have to use some kind of metal, but I don't want a kind of metal that's going to rust. So that's why this ain't going to be cheap, because I've elected to make the new design out of aluminum. Still kind of toying around with how exactly I'm going to do it. I think I'm just going to kind of piece it together as I go, but I think I'm going to use this solid bar for the outside of the frames, this time sized for the drawings, so there's no hang over the sides, and then the inside of the frame with the plate or sheet metal, which I believe I can cut with the 10 snips, but I've also, to put it all together, went and bought my own rivet kit, and then a load of rivets to go with it, and to cut the bar and everything, I've got the grinder here and a bunch of cutoff wheels. They had a deal on those at the Harbor Freight. We've got our scry / center punch that I went ahead and got. We've got a primitive drill press here. So I think I have everything to go ahead and get started. I'm already, with all of this, like close to $100 in. This ain't gonna be cheap. By the time we're done with this, boy, it's all right. Let's go ahead and hit that time lapse. Well, it is now 11:30 at night. I'm ready to call it a day. The end of day number 1. How many days is this one going to take me? Well, all of those hours I only managed to get one done. But the first one I was kind of expecting that was going to take me the longest. Kind of getting a feel for the process. The next ones will go faster. Here's the aftermath. Well, this primitive little, was it $5? Yeah, $5 drill press ended up being a good little tool for this job, you know, just going through little pieces of bar and sheet metal. But I'm going to have to get some other kind of like block or something out here to catch the other end of the metal, because as the drill bit's breaking through, sometimes they'll fall and change the angle of the hole. So that's something. Also, as it turns out, the rivets did not come with the little washers, little rings that are supposed to go on the other side. That was something I was supposed to buy separately. I think it would have made sense for them to come in here with, whatever. But, you know, as it turns out, you don't 100% need them. They're not totally necessary. I know there's probably some builders out there having conniptions that I'm saying that, oh, look at that, he built the entire thing with no washers on the other side of his rivets. Rivets. I said rivet, didn't I? No, it's holding together just fine. I feel like it'll be fine without it. To attach the artwork to the frame, I decided to just go with these binder clips because, you know, they don't break down in the sun and leave gummy marks when you have to reapply them. You know, they're common, they're plentiful, they're easy to manage, and, you know, now that I've got a framework that's thin enough to use them, why not? Why not? So that's how I solved that little problem. I have 5 more of these to go. So that is where we are now. End of day number 1. Well, it's now late at night on Wednesday, September the 23rd, about 10:45 at night. It's been a lot of distractions this week, over the weekend and everything else, and finally getting back to this. Got a few hours to spend on it before I have to go into bed. But I'm going to go ahead and say this is day number 2, starting day number 2. It's 1:15 in the morning now, and here's what I got. All the sheet metal cut, and then the frames for 2 of these. I still have to get the corner pieces for the last 2. Ran out of the bar for the side there, so I'm going to have to stop by a hardware store and get that. Try to finish this project up. It's 3:45 the next day now. Little buddy's out here. It's kind of a drizzly day. This is the beginning of day number 3. Got to run in just a couple of hours. Alright, let's get started. Well, it's a little bit after 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day now. Friday, September the 25th, 2020. Wow. You know what? I can't wait till pumpkin spice coffee creamers start appearing on the shelf again. It's fall now. Shouldn't be long. Okay, so we're starting day number 4 of this build project. I've got all three of them done so far. That's very labor intensive and time consuming for me to do things. Starting on day number 4. Wow, I've already had to go buy a whole nother pack of, I said a whole nother, didn't I? Another whole pack of rivets. I cannot speak today. Wow. Alright. Starting day. I really hope this is it. I really hope day number 4, by the time this next time lapse is done, I'll be done with these things. Well, it's a little bit after midnight now, and I'm finally done. And here is the finished product. It's on the collar example side here, looking a lot more professional and rigid, heavier, so they're not going to blow around in the wind quite as easy. There's a lot of hardware, nice uniform hardware on the back of it now. This was so labor intensive. All these pieces that had to be cut, then filed, and the holes drilled, and then re-drilled because there was always little burrs in the holes that wouldn't let the rivets go through. And then so many rivets that I'd like to put a cramp in my hand. Yeah, this doesn't seem like it should have been 4 days worth of work. But this was very labor intensive, but I'm very happy with how it's come out in the end. And the convenience of being able to just fold it right up and put it back in the tote, that is still there. And here's the black and white examples. And again, nice and uniform on it now. So, it's all aluminum. Don't have to worry about it rusting, except for maybe the binder clips, but that's not really part of it. They can be changed out whenever. Much better than that tired old plastic examples that I used for so long. And as ugly and as worn out as these things look, it almost seems a little better to just toss them out in the trash after they've served me for so long. But they were looking so unprofessional, so time to toss them on out. Gotta have the channel mascot in there for a second. That's just the beginning. Just the beginning. I still have the sandwich board to work on. Need to shore up the easel and get a new banner put on the top. So by the time fairs and festivals start coming back, I'm really hoping to have everything looking very nice, professional, and polished. And it's been nice having my own workspace now. Part of the thing that was holding me back for a long time is I was in apartments, and you can't really run power tools in apartments. But now I can, and so I really want to take advantage of it. So if you've enjoyed this video at all, please don't hesitate to indicate so by hitting the thumbs up. But I don't know why you'd hit the thumbs up on this one. This one was probably really boring with all the repetitious time lapses. But it took me 4 days to do this, and with the other distractions that happened, it was either make a video about this or ghost you guys for a week. And so I made a video about this. So, I'm sorry. But still, talk to you down in the comments, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.